All right, so this is how I actually have it currently set up. I am currently doing an experiment with these also that involves bioactive. So I'll just run through like super quick what my experiment looks like. I wanted these stackable, and I'm actually in the process of moving, and so I didn't want these to be super heavy either. I wanted them to be relatively easy to move. So my drainage layer is actually a little bit funny. I'm not going to pull it apart, but it's, well, actually I've got some over here. Sorry. Sorry for shaking the camera. It's actually slices of pool noodle that are an inch thick and maybe an inch and a half. I think these ones are an inch and a half. They're two different sizes. I don't remember. Anyway, I did one and then I did the other. I think these ones ended up being an inch and a half. So then I filled in all the gaps with some lava rock. Let me see if I've got some extra. Hang on. Yeah, so I filled in all the gaps with crushed lava rock of various sizes, right? And just like, it's hard to see, but I like stacked the pool noodles like end to end, right? Like, this is obviously just an example, but and just kind of made a grid like that, and then put the rocks and stuff inside and around the edges, right? It's not going to work because they're not packed in. Anyway, that's what I did for my drainage layer. It's a total experiment. I have no idea if it's going to work. I may end up having to pull it all apart later, but the reason I use pool noodles is because they're obviously super light, right? But they're also polyethylene foam, which means that they aren't going to break down over time in water, and they also aren't going to like off-gas harmful stuff, right? So they're a safe, chemically safe component for the snakes, and they're also light and meant to be sitting in water. So then on top of that, obviously I've got like some mesh and screen and other stuff you can't even see. Sorry, the camera on this phone sucks. But anyway, so then back here, and I haven't finished up this part yet, but I have a little piece of tubing running in the side so that later I can flush it out if I need to without having to take apart the whole thing. This isn't finished yet though, so anyway, and then don't pay attention to this. I cracked it trying to put this vent in there. So some of the things that you might be interested in. These are little drain strainers from Dollar Tree, and it's just, I cut the hole and then hot glued it. Usually I cut the holes with an oscillating tool. In this case, I did it with a like a razor knife, and that's how I ended up shattering that. So so there's that. These doors to do locks, I just have little pieces of plastic, just little strips. They were just a scrap that I had. I don't remember, but really anything will work, like a stick will work or something. So anyway, that's how those are. And then let me pull these doors real quick. So the lights, I do have lights in here. I have these grow light, well, I have the grow light up there, and then I have the LED strips up here. They're RGBWs. The grow lights are specifically for the plants. So again, total experiment. No idea if this is going to work. This one's still in transition, so it doesn't have everything in here. It doesn't have like leaf litter and junk, but if I can find them, there's a bunch of isopods hanging out. Here you can kind of see a few of them running around. There's also some dubias, I don't know, some cockroaches in here. I don't know where everybody is, but they're all hiding because they don't have leaf litter to hide under. Anyway, so the live plants that I have in here currently, I've got these polka dot plants. I have a couple spider plants in there just because I propagate spider plants on my own, like just off to the side anyway. So I had some extras. I have this thing, it's called a waffle plant. No idea if it's going to work. This, oh, I covered it up. Back here, this ivy is live. That's a live plant. Obviously this is fake. And then over here I have something called an aluminum plant, which I have never tried even outside of an enclosure. So I have no idea if it's going to work. But the lights are, sorry, poor Jake is like freaking out probably about why I'm messing with this enclosure again. So this one's an aluminum plant. Again, no idea if it's going to work. Same with the waffle plant. Waffle plant, about a week in, is looking pretty sad, so he may not survive. As for the cage around the ceramic heater, I'm not going to tell you what I did to actually connect the heater up there because I'm confident that this isn't going to burn down my house, but I don't want to like give you the wrong information. So I'm not going to tell you exactly how I hooked up the heater in terms of like electrically, but the basket thing, the cage, is basically 2 baskets, and I cut the bottom off of this one and then fold the edges over so that it can get screwed in. And then once I'm done, I put everything together and zip tie them together, and then I just turn the zip ties. Which these ones I didn't clip, so you can like see the zip ties are like sticking in. I'm not too worried about it, but on most of them I'll cut it. Like, so on this one you can, on this one you can see I cut the zip ties, but then I turn them inwards so that they aren't sharp on the outside. You also, with these baskets, kind of have to do the same thing. You got to feel around and make sure there's no like wires poking out, and sometimes you have to like push them in or file them down or that kind of thing. As for the lights, these lights, the LED strips are literally from Walmart. And they have like this little remote there. You find them in the electronics section. They're for like backlighting a TV or whatever. Which is cool, right? It means that like I can change the colors of the lights if I want. Usually I just leave it on the medium white setting because then it puts all the diodes on. Or no, is it? Let's see. Is it that one? I don't remember. Anyway, and then as for this one, this is a grow light. All of these lights, I was using hot glue originally, but the hot glue eventually came off, and so then the lights were they weren't like falling down, but they weren't secure either. So this time what I did is I drilled holes on either side of the LED strips and then ran zip ties up and around and just zip tied them in. So there's like 30 zip ties across the top of both of these. And I did the same thing with the grow light. These 2 black zip ties are the grow light. So I just drilled holes on either side and then wrapped the zip tie around. Sorry, I'm a terrible camera person. So, and then did that. And then also, so for me, I took my grow light apart because it was one that I found on clearance years ago. And so I took it apart and then I crimped on my own connectors and stuff. I don't know if I'd recommend going to all that trouble if you're just starting out, especially because grow lights are like $10. So, but I had one that has like timers and stuff. And now I can control those 2. Plus I have like an extra grow light. So I'm going to turn, this is an extra tub down here. So I'm going to turn it into obviously another enclosure if I get another reptile, but it's going to be just a place to propagate plants for a little while. Anyway, so that's how all of that stuff works. The heaters, these are the pizza screens that I was talking about. If you're not familiar with this, you can get them at, again, don't pay attention to this thing. I'll like censor that. I don't want to make electrical recommendations to anybody. But the pizza screens here, these are from a restaurant supply store. You can get them on Amazon too, but they're super cheap at a restaurant supply store. I think these were $2, if that. These are like 8-inch ones. They come in all different sizes. But basically all you do is just cut. You can kind of see like we have a hole. Actually, I have an extra one. Hold on. Okay, so sorry, this was easier. I don't know why I didn't do this from the beginning. Maybe I'll remake the video, but you basically just cut a hole that's larger than your heater, right? And then put the pizza screen on top, and then you can zip tie it, just drill holes and zip tie it to your lid. Basically what that does is it gives you something metal for your heater to sit on, and then you know, something also for the basket to hang on to. And I just have this basket zip tied up to the screen. Man, sorry, my camera is terrible and I'm a terrible cameraman. It's a great combo. So anyway, so that's how this works. This, like I said, is an old one. So this is how I used to do the lights, where they're just like hot glued on there, but you can see, actually miraculously, this one's not peeling off, but like it doesn't take much to get these to peel off, especially once they get warm. So on this side, the issue I always had was over here. You can see I like gooped up hot glue to keep this from peeling off, because where on the warm side, the hot glue was just not doing the trick when the lights were on. So anyway, that's how that whole thing is done. A few other notes. These I had to, I just used a binder clip to hold these on. This one won't probably do it, but a little. When they make these, they like are bowed in super bad, and so then they lose a lot of structure. So I just use a binder clip to hold them together, and that adds the extra structure that's needed. I run my thermostat probe. You can see it like sticking over there. I run my thermostat probe just down through the basket, and that seems to work really well for me. I have both of these, so I keep mine in pairs, and I run one thermostat for both of them. If you were going to do two different thermostats, it's probably better. Depends on your application, but in that case, you could, you know, experiment a little bit. So one thing that I had thought about doing was, rather than what I did here, I thought about just drilling a hole through the top of the pizza screen and then just hanging the like the heat lamp thing, right? Taking the aluminum shroud off of the heat lamp and then just hanging the socket in through there, and zip tying it to the pizza screen. And you could totally do that too. Also, you'll notice here I have some silicone. This serves a few different purposes in this case, but one of the main purposes is to just hold the heat and humidity in, so that you don't have this like giant gaping hole right above the thing that's vaporizing all of the water out of the air, right? And that would be really difficult to maintain humidity. So so for mine, like, I have the ventilation on the sides, right, like I said, but then they also get some ventilation through here, through these little gaps, and then also obviously a little bit through here too. So so the airflow is decent. It's not amazing. I want to work on that some too, but I haven't gotten there yet. So anyway, happy to answer more questions. I am not an expert. I have no idea if some of this is going to work. I have done a lot of research on like how to have some pretty good husbandry with these guys. So I know that this is a suitable environment for them, and I know that it's maintaining their like temperature and humidity and stuff. I've been messing with their enclosures today, so their thermometers are out. But I know that it's maintaining their environment correctly. I don't know how the plants are going to do. I don't know what the drainage layer is going to be like long term. I don't know how the cleanup crew is going to do. There's also some springtails in here and other stuff. So I don't know how any of that's going to work, but it's a healthy environment for the snakes. They seem to really enjoy it. So anyway, that's what I've got.